Welcome to another episode of the AutoTech Effect 2020. I'm joined here today by Hauhe, the founder of R8tr pre-inspection application. Rocky's going to explain to us today how this innovative technology is changing how people can buy pre-owned vehicles from across the country and be very confident in their purchase. So Rocky, tell us more about R8tr and how you came across this great idea.
Well, I appreciate you having me. R8tr was truly created out of necessity. I also own a automotive dealership out of St. Louis, Missouri. I had an individual that used to do essentially what the app would do for me. However, it becomes pricey to have someone on payroll, time, money. So one day, I sent this gentleman out and had him go look at a vehicle for me about 4 hours away. Come back, empty, no truck. Car was presented as perfect. However, you know how things go on the internet, they're not always as they seem.
Sure.
It was peppered in hail damage.
Oh, wow.
Came back, I had its time, wear and tear on my truck and trailer. Also passed on another vehicle to go after that one.
Sure.
Which after finding out would have probably been the better route to go after the other one. I sat down at my desk just in frustration and said, there just has to be a better way to do this. So sat down with my business partner, Randy Wild. I said, you got to help me come up with somehow there's got to be a way to do this. And so over a few months' time, we started, developing what we thought would work. We met with a company that develops applications for phones and just mainly started nailing down what we wanted to do and how we wanted it to work, which we thought would, take a couple months, which turned into a year and a half of time.
Sure.
But we wanted to make sure it was right. And so essentially what, how it functions is, it's a shared economy app. Shared economy is becoming very popular nowadays. Uber, Lyft, Instacart, all these different Groupon. What's the other one that's become pretty big where they deliver food? Anyway, so the premise is you have somebody that needs a service and you have somebody that's getting paid for a service, and an application essentially connects you. So all of our raters in this case are 1099 employees that we go out and vet, and what they do is they go out and be your eyes on something that you can't touch or feel. If I'm looking at a car halfway across the country, my option right now is to get on a plane,
Sure.
go look at it, or get in a car, go drive to check it out, or pray that someone is presenting it as is.
Sure.
If you buy a lot of cars, or even if you just buy one car, it's very helpful to be able to at least have the education to know that what it is being presented as is actually what you're going to purchase. Nowadays, also, you hear about a lot of the scams and things that unfortunately the market has turned into, because everything is online now. The old days, we used to get a AutoTrader magazine from the gas station and look through it, and then on a Sunday go drive around and look at the vehicles. It's just not efficient to do that anymore. More importantly, if it's a really good deal, by the time you do it the old-fashioned way, most likely someone else is, because of the internet, has been able to find that deal faster than you.
Sure. So your application is really modernizing the digital purchase process of, whether it's peer-to-peer, someone selling a car out of their driveway to another buyer. But in your case, as a dealer owner yourself, buying pre-owned vehicles, whether it's through the auction or in this case off of private individuals, what you're trying to do is make yourself more efficient, more economical, and have the ability to do this with a third-party independent viewpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on the dealership side of things,
Sure.
Let's say you're going to an auction, everybody's familiar with what they call the condition report.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as a lot of people have found out, is less than accurate. You're taking somebody that's getting an hourly wage to just push through, in some cases, 1,000 cars a day. In our case, it's an individual that has a passion for what they do. They love cars, or they work on cars, or whatever the case may be, but they love doing it. It's not the clock in, clock out.
Sure.
And the best part is they're getting paid to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So you're right. The phenomenon of Uber and Lyft and Instacart and Grubhub. These are economies for people to not only make a wage but create convenience in life for the people rendering the service. How would someone become a rater on your application?
First step is you go in and you download the app. We're on the Google Play Store as well as the iTunes Store. You go download it. It's a fairly quick process to fill out, your typical information, but also we ask you to put in a bio of why you would want to do this and why we should approve you to be one of them. And then also, we're not just in the car market. We do motorcycles, boats, and RVs. So each category, you'll have a slider. Some people are stronger at classic cars than they are exotic cars. Or if you're in the boat market, you may know a lot about the fishing boats, but a sailboat may be foreign to you.
Sure.
So you can actually go in the beginning and tell us what your strengths are. Mm-hmm. And then through the AI of the app, when the jobs are posted, that's how we'll control who gets the listings and who sees the availability to go do the job. So we try to pair the right people with their right strength to get our customer, the buyer in this case, the best results that they can get.
So, our audience here is the automobile industry, and as we tell the story of this application, I think it's very mainstream, and there's a lot of real use case that I think our dealers and people, vended suppliers would find useful in this. Take us through one of your raters being on site. Take us through the process. How does it work? Give us a description.
I'll use myself as an example, as not being a rater at this point, but as a dealership owner.
Sure.
I go out and I find a vehicle on, let's say, eBay that works, or something I'm trying to source for my dealership. And I go on the app, I post the information for who has it listed, whether that's an individual or another dealership. Mm-hmm. Takes me 2-3 minutes. VIN, year, make, model, copy, link to where the listing is, so that way the rater can, prior to going, can kind of familiarize himself with what he's going to look at. And then I click submit, and it goes off to the cloud. And if you're within the geofence of where that vehicle is, if you're a rater, you'll get an alert on your phone, and you click accept. Once they do that, then they make the arrangements with the seller, if it's an individual or a dealer, of what time they can go look at it. They get there. They don't need any interaction from the seller, and we have a pretty extensive training process of whoever's selling the vehicle. They're selling it either because it's their business or it's their property. We don't want them. They're not there to pick it apart.
Sure.
We don't want them to highlight to the seller, oh, look at this scratch, or there's a big dent here. We ask them to be very respectful, and the app has them walk around the car, each individual panel, interior, all the 30 plus criteria that the app has built in. They take a photo, they put notes in, they have a few other options, and then at the end of it, we ask them to do a walk around video, 1 minute video, just real slow. You might be able to pick up certain things.
Sure.
And seeing it in a video makes it more real also. Mm-hmm. Whether that's have the vehicle running. However, each rater kind of has their own niche to how they like to do it, but the app forces you to do it the way we want it. But then they can put their own touch in there. The better job they do, the raters are actually rated mm-hmm. at the end. So they have their best interest to do the best job, because they'll get more jobs in the future based on that.
Sure. Well, it sounds like this is a very valid service, especially in the automobile industry. How long ago did you get started? Where are you guys at in the process of raters around the country? Are you regional?
We're nationwide. We just launched full out in January of this year. We started recruiting our raters mid-year last year. We wanted to have a good network built up. We're sitting at about 1,800 raters across the U.S. We're in 96 of the top 100 car markets.
Okay.
And it's that fine line of, you don't want to have too many, but you want to have enough. We want our raters to take pride in it and to get the jobs to where they're, if they only get one job every couple of weeks because the market's flooded with too many of them, then they lose interest and things like that. So we're very particular in what areas, and we look at all the analytics of which areas have more sales. So if you're in a rural area in Minnesota or something like that, we may only have 2 or 3. You take an area like Miami or St. Louis, and we might have 20 of them.
Sure.
But we need that in order to keep up. And our thing is, your option right now is to hire a pre-purchase inspection company, which a lot of times could take anywhere from 4 days to maybe even a week before they could get out to look at the vehicle. We would like, in a perfect world, to be able to get to you the vehicle within a couple hours or quicker.
Yeah.
But we strive for 24 hours or less. If a rating comes in at 9 o'clock at night, we don't expect them to go obviously look at it at that point, but we would like them to be there first thing in the morning. Some of that is controlled by the seller, obviously, but that's one of the things we pride ourselves on, is the speed of being able to get that information as quick as possible, rather than booking a flight, or if it's halfway across the country, the 10-hour drive. So the speed of the information is what's crucial nowadays. With the internet, again, we keep circling back to the fact that if it's a really good deal, if you don't jump on it, it's going to be gone.
It'll move fast.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And so your customers, as we promote this to the automotive industry, dealers, this is a great tool for dealers like yourself, franchise, independent, wholesalers. It sounds like this is a great fit for them. If they want to learn more about Rater, where do they go to learn more about it?
We have a pretty good network of information that we've built. You can go to our website, which is R8tr.com. We also have our own YouTube channel with a lot of video, whether it's previous ratings we've done, interviews, things like that. There's a lot of information there. Facebook, Instagram, we're just about everywhere you could look, you can get the information.
That's fantastic. So how much does it cost? That's one the thing I'm sure our audience is now asking is, so what would a service cost if I wanted to send someone out to look at a car? I'm in the Midwest. I want to look at a car in Orange County, California. What would be an ideal price for that?
Our base rate starts at $80, and that'll carry you up to roughly about a $50,000 vehicle. So anything under that, it'd be $80 for a standard vehicle. We have different price points for the different verticals and things like that, but our base rate is $80, and it goes up from there, but very marginally. If you're looking at a $250,000 Ferrari, you're still going to be under $200. Gotcha. So very affordable, very quick, and then a lot of times on the higher end, if you're looking at 3 or 4 of them, you can't look at all of them economically.
Sure.
So this way, what we've also learned through just trial and error and some of the jobs we've got in is, if you're looking at one in New York and one in California, obviously you got the whole country there to span.
Sure.
Now for, say, under $300, you can know exactly what you're buying condition-wise.
Sure. Far less than a plane ticket to both of the cities.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about how a rater can earn income being a rater for you in a certain market.
Sure. What we've seen has become pretty popular is they will schedule them on their commute home. If let's say this particular rater happens to be a mechanic that works at a dealership, and he sets his radius as his drive home. So he'll schedule it, and on his way home, he can make it anywhere from an extra $40 up to a couple $100.
Oh, wow.
We pay the percentage, which we pay out higher than almost all of the other shared economy apps, because we want them to make money. We want them to do a good job. They can get tipped, and a lot of times, if you take a Uber or Instacart, for example, you might get a $5 or $6 tip. In this case, a lot of times if they do the job well enough, that their tips are, we've seen upwards of $100 plus, because the people appreciate the information they've received. Quick little story: we had a gentleman that bought, I want to say it was a '57 Chevy. It was his dad's dream car to have again. It was when he was 16 or 17. So this individual found the car that he wanted to purchase for his dad, had a price negotiated, and said, well, before I send you any money, I want to send a R8tr out. He still ended up buying the vehicle, but because of some of the things that the R8tr identified, he was able to save $6,000 off the price of the car.
Yeah.
The convertible top didn't quite function as it should. And again, we're not out to pick things apart. We just want our customers to have all the information and the best possible condition to make the offer. And we've had a lot of people call it a pre-purchase app or pre-offer app, before you ever make an offer. That way you have the educated decision of knowing what it's truly worth to you.
It's providing great third-party transparency to something that, as you said, in a digital economy, when someone can have 3 or 4 buyers wanting to show up at their house because it's at a good price in a certain market, you need to move fast. But being able to have that transparency is great.
And the key is the third party.
Yeah.
You've got somebody that has no skin in the game.
Sure.
They just want to do a good job for you.
So as a dealer, talk to us about how someone might utilize the R8tr app. If I've got someone that wants to buy a car from my car dealership, and we all know Kelley Blue Book is out there, and everybody rates their own car as very clean or excellent condition.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
So now as a car dealer, I want to put a fair number, but an accurate number. Tell them how they might use R8tr to do that.
Absolutely. One of the struggles, as a lot of people know, is especially nowadays, the out-of-state market is huge.
Sure.
My particular dealership, it's 40% that goes out of Missouri.
Yeah.
But what it's allowed us to do, and for other dealers that have utilized it, is you always have that uncomfortable conversation about the trade.
Yeah.
Obviously, the customer that's trading it, and it as you said, NADA or Kelley Blue Book, it's above average.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's not always the case.
Sure.
So you have to give them a range of, let's say, I could give you 10,000, or I could give you up to 13 if it's perfect.
Sure.
Well, that's that uncomfortable conversation when they drive 5 hours to trade it in, and unfortunately, it's on the low side.
Yeah.
Then you get that car dealer MO that you're just trying to make more money, when it's usually not the case. So what this has allowed us to do is, if you're trading in, let's say it's a 2005 Corvette, and you think it's worth 20, I think it's worth 15. If it's perfect, I would be happy to give you 20, because that's what it's worth. I can send a R8tr to your house, and they can give me, and again, third party. So if it doesn't come back the way it should, it's not me sending an employee from my dealership.
Sure.
I'm not trying to, work a deal under the table type thing. It's a third party. They're going to tell me exactly what that car's condition is. Now I can have my sales manager or salesman truly put an accurate number on it that we will stand behind, because we know what we're ultimately going to get when they drive in and what the vehicle's condition is.
Sure.
And it besides the fact makes it more accurate, it's helped the callbacks and the customer service and some of those issues that you get after the fact, and the dissatisfied customers, because you told them, if you tell somebody 10,000 to 15,000, they always hear 15,000.
15 is the last.
They didn't hear the 10.
That's right.
So it's helped our customer satisfaction, because they came in knowing the actual number.
Well, we talk about this all the time in technology and automotive. Is a goal as an industry is to create frictionless transactions, and there's nothing more full of friction than this is what your trade is worth.
Right.
So I think this is a fantastic innovation that this industry needs, and as someone that's been in the industry for 26 years, thinking about exactly all of those scenarios, this really ticks the box. And for somebody that is an automobile enthusiast or an RV enthusiast that wants to make a little extra money doing something that might be fun as well as lucrative financially, this is a great way to do that. So this is a great medium to share this idea with the automotive community. But moreover, what are your plans for R8tr as you are today, and where you're going in the future?
Yeah, we it's funny you mentioned RV. Something that we've heard because we have launched in the RV market is if you think about it, if you're a traditional RVer, if you will, you go to a RV park and you park there for the weekend, and you barbecue and you hang out with the other people in there. And so what we've found out is a lot of these enthusiasts that are there, well, if they get an alert that there happens to be one of the RVs that are in the same park,
that's right,
they can go out and not only they're there for vacation, but they can go make, obviously on an RV it's a little bit more money because there's more involved and a lot more moving parts and things like that. But they can go out and on a Saturday afternoon and make a couple $100, and they provide a service and they have fun doing it. Yeah. That's the best part.
Well, compared to, as you said, the Uber and Instacart financial model, for those people that are turning on the R8tr app to be a R8tr as they're on their way home or on the weekends to supplement their income, it sounds like a great medium to do that. So congratulations on the application.
Thank you very much.
I think our audience will really respond well to it. Thank you again for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep.